Although that Illumination has made some stinkers along the years, they've also made some timeless, entertaining classics worthy of mention. So, I've already talked about the worst of Illumination, so tonight let's talk about the top 3 best Illumination movies of all time. And if you don't like these movies, that's fine. It's just an opinion. Anyway, on to the countdown. Number 3. Dr. Seuss's The Lorax. Big surprise, huh? I don't get why this gets a lot of bad reviews. Honestly, it's one of the most unique, creative Illumination movies. The animation has a special Dr. Seuss charm to it, kind of like Horton Hears a Who and The Grinch. While the characters can be stupid and predictable sometimes, it's still a really unique, action-packed movie that has a lot of creative, unique art styles. When it comes to the truffula trees, they look like giant balls of cotton candy. And that's always welcome in a kid movie, especially a Dr. Seuss movie. This movie holds a special place in my heart as I went to see it in theaters back in 2012, along with Ice Age Continental Drift. So, I can't hate this movie. And it still stays true to that Dr. Seuss charm. The city may not be all that special, but it does have a lot of unique vehicles, like Ted's Unimotorcycle, which is very unique. And the climax when they're trying to get that truffula tree to the middle of the city so they can grow truffula trees again is a very action-packed climax. Dr. Seuss's The Lorax is an underrated movie, and it certainly deserves a whole lot more recognition than it gets. I totally recommend Dr. Seuss's The Lorax, right alongside The Grinch. Also, the songs are some of the best Illumination songs ever. They totally blow away Frozen's Let It Go. And the second best Illumination movie is Despicable Me. Now, if you guys know, I ripped into Despicable Me 3 back on the worst Illumination list, but the original is always going to be a timeless classic. It was a movie that really stood out in 2010, alongside a whole list of animation like Toy Story 3, Shark Forever After, Legend of the Guardians, Megamind, a whole bunch of other anime films, and still this turns out to be one of the unique films. It was Illumination's debut, and is still one of their best films. Gru is a villain who wants to be the best villain, so he decides to steal the moon, but there's a whole lot of conflict that he has to go through in order to achieve this. He has to deal with an egocentric villain named Vector who just stole a pyramid, and he has to get back the Shrink Ray from his fortress. And by the way, Vector's fortress is greatly designed. It has a lot of cool gadgets, a lot of gags with Gru, and all the characters pretty much are the most likable in any Illumination film. The girls are their charming selves. Gru is the really great protagonist, and the minions are tolerable. Despicable Me is the film that debuted at Illumination, and it still resigns as one of their best. I totally recommend Despicable Me if you're a big Illumination fan. It's best you know where it all started. And this only started as a teaser trailer back in 2009, with that one scene where they show that a pyramid's been stolen and replaced by an inflatable one. So anyway, on to number 1. Before I get into number 1, just a couple of quick honorable mentions. Sing. This is one of Illumination's finer movies. It has that distinct style like Zootopia where all the characters are animals. It's one of the most original Illumination films, and I honestly wanted to talk about it, but it didn't really quite stick as well as The Lorax did. It's not a childhood favorite, and a lot of the characters are forgettable and meh. Like, Buster Moon is kind of a forgettable protagonist, and some of the characters just didn't quite care for. The animation is still great. So, not saying Sing is a bad movie, still a very solid movie, and I highly recommend you go check it out. Grinch. Another movie that I really wanted to talk about. This is the best adaptation of the Grinch book by Dr. Seuss. People say the Chuck Jones cartoon is the best, or the Jim Carrey live-action movie, but this is the best version of the Grinch. He has a relatable, deep backstory that explains why he hates Christmas, because he never had anybody to celebrate with. And that's a really deep, heartfelt and also heart-wrenching backstory that really makes the character more relatable. He still has that Grinchy attitude, making him slightly enjoyable to hate. But also has that relatability to other audiences who don't have anybody to celebrate Christmas with. The characters still have that unique Dr. Seuss charm to them, and they're still their old selves, just slightly modified. I totally recommend Dr. Seuss's The Grinch if you're a big fan of the original story, or a Dr. Seuss fan. Anyway, also, want to mention Benedict Cumberbatch really does an amazing job as the Grinch. So, anyway, on to number 1. And without a doubt, the number 1 best Illumination movie is Despicable Me 2. Brilliant. Out of all the Illumination movies, this is a movie that I'd always come back to, time and again. It has that warmth from the original, but with better action scenes. This whole trailer right here really has the best scenes, and one of the best antagonists in movie history, El Macho. And it has relatability. What made Despicable Me stand out as a franchise is relatability to real-life circumstances. Gru is a relatable character and very cool as a hero. And Lucy is the best character of this movie. She's a badass, but also very quirky and shy around Gru, making her the perfect love interest for him. These two are like a Shrek and Fiona. This was the Shrek 2 of Illumination. While sadly the third film was the Shrek the Third. The animation is a huge step up from the first movie. The minions are around just enough to be likable, and they still have that charm to them, and they can be really funny. Even though there are supporting characters that are mentioned again, that doesn't hold the movie back from being the best of Illumination's offerings. And I consider Despicable Me 2 the absolute best Illumination movie of all time. Oh, this scene right here. This is a billion times better than the third movie. Just the way that her car turns into a submarine. That is really cool. So anyway, what are your thoughts on Illumination? Leave a comment down below. Things like these show that if Illumination puts their minds to it, they can come up with something that will blow Disney, Pixar, or DreamWorks out of the water, and they can be regarded as one of the greatest animation studios of all time. Illumination has proven that they can make heartfelt masterpieces like the first Despicable Me films or the Lorax. So, guys, instead of bashing Illumination for making mediocrity, why not inspire them to make greater films and actually put effort into the story? Anyway, Illumination, you can do better. I believe in you. Whew. See you guys later. Thanks for watching, and may Jesus bless you.